Grace and peace, everybody. We're back. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, we are back. Thanks so much for tuning in on this evening. This is going to be a fun one. I had planned to sit down and talk with an attorney about the whole Fani Willis all brouhaha going on here in Georgia, but just literally got a text message a few minutes ago saying that we're not going to be able to do it. So it's all good in the hood. I had some plans to ask him some questions, so maybe we can still capture those questions for a later date because he owes me a rain check for sure. But hopefully we can have him come on another day and talk about it. He is a family law attorney here in Atlanta. Actually, he's come to the studio a couple times doing projects with us. So he's definitely a smart fellow, and I think he'll be a good resource. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm just doing a real quick, make sure that everything is working. Systems are a go so that we can get at it on this evening. Welcome to everybody that's new. Man, so this week, I'm going to talk about it tomorrow on the Week in Woke as well. But I want to say thank you to everybody who has liked, shared, and subscribed, watched videos, and just, man, this past week has been bananas for Dear Woke Christian. I'll just go ahead and spoil it real quick. I had the first video that I've ever done that's hit almost 50,000 views in a day. That's insane. I had the largest live stream that I've ever had, ever, with 1,300 people in a live stream. I don't even know how to even say that. The screenshots, I had some friends screenshot me. I was overwhelmed. Like when I told y'all on the live stream, look, y'all about to make a guy cry. Let me just say the truth. Y'all almost brought me to tears because I never in a million years would have thought 1,300 people would want to come on this channel and watch my live stream and comment, all that kind of stuff. The live stream, the literal comments were going bananas. It was insane. Oh, and by the way, it was like at 9 o'clock in the morning too. So first of all, thank you all for that. And then, of course, this week I've had the most subscribers ever on my channel. I don't know what to say. I'm just overwhelmed. I thank you all so much. Maybe it's because it was the end of Black History Month. I want to help a brother out. I don't know. But thank you, thank you, thank you. Now, for my new subscribers, if you're not familiar with what Dear Woke Christian is about, and you're kind of like, yo, what's this woke thing about? Stay tuned. Tomorrow I usually do a wrap-up show on Sundays, and I'll give you the full long story of how I became Dear Woke Christian. But I will tell you this, there's a video on my channel called What's Up with the Name, and you can check it out there too. But I'll go over it in real time with you all on tomorrow. So thank you all so much for the questions. I had a lot of people asking like, hey, what's this name about? What's this woke Christian thing about? And so I will explain it tomorrow. But if you want to get like a spoiler alert, it's actually on my channel already. So yeah, this past week was bananas. I've never imagined that what I'm talking about here in this office would be interesting to so many people. And I thank all of you all for tuning in, for subscribing and hitting the bell notification, for commenting, to go to the community posts, all of that stuff. It means so much. And I really, really do appreciate it. So I want to say thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to say it probably 27 more times before this show is over. But I do want to say thank you all to everybody who's watched the videos, shared the videos, commented on the videos, all that kind of stuff like that. I know people don't like it that much, but I got to give them the air horn. I got to use the air horn. So thank you all so much for that. Let's go ahead. I do have a couple of fun people stopping by. Lacey, glad to have you. Thank you so much for stopping by. I got to see the thumbnail. I've been working on my thumbnail game, so hopefully you all are appreciating that. What's going on, M. Davis? Good to see you from North Carolina. Always good to see Lindsay in the building. Good to see you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Lacey. Thank you so much for that. Eric is in the building, longtime subscriber. My moderator like nobody else, Susie Q. Good to see you, sister. Queen Fab says, so proud of you. You deserve it. Thank you very, very much. It is fun to do this. I have a blast doing this. So to be able to do it with you all has just been fun. What's going on, Willie Doc, my brother from another? Good to see you, man. Willie is in the building. All right. Yeah, it definitely is a hot topic for sure. No question about it. And Fani Willis and that whole discussion, we're going to be talking about it tonight. So let me just be honest. Thank you so much. Owens, I'm glad you enjoyed the show. Hey there. There's my sister from another mister. Q is in the house. Thank you so much. All right. Susie's on it. Johnny on the spot. She said, hey, here's that. If you want to, you can click on this video right here that Susie just put in the chat. This one explains where I got my name from, but I'm going to go over it again tomorrow as well in real time. Thank you so much for welcoming everybody new to the channel. So many of you all. Angel Wings is in the building. Always good to see you. Thank you. There she is. Sheila's in the house. Good to see you. I love it. Discernment Files is up in here, ready to cause some good thought-provoking conversation going on. What you got? We watch YouTube. I'm glad to see you back. Always glad to see you back. Leslie's here. Thank you so much. So let's get ready to have some fun. So again, if I had intended to talk with Mark tonight. He's an attorney here in Atlanta, and he's a family law attorney here in Atlanta. He's done some projects at my studio with me, and I was planning on having him come in, but he texted me and said, yeah, about that. It's not going to be able to work tonight. So it's okay. And because I wanted to ask him some questions that you all ask about the whole legal proceedings. And I let him know, like, hey, these are not going to be any high, bar level class questions, but rather just to find out, what's the process? Because I think a lot of us had questions like, well, if the judge comes back and rules one way, are they going to appeal it? Or does it just like the judge said it and that's it? Because I've heard different things. I've heard different things from people that are pretty smart too. So I'm like, well, is it they can't appeal or they can appeal? So I was going to ask Mark that. And then of course, ask him some questions like, why did Fani Willis tap that guy to do her closing arguments? Avate, I think his name was. And we're gonna watch a video to talk about it. I don't think he got the memo. That was very it was very weird. So, I was going to ask him, like, why did they pick him? Do you know? And it's such like that. And of course, if he doesn't know, it would be good to kind of hear just some thought process. Like, how did they pick? But another great question somebody asked me is, why did Ashley Merchant not do any closing arguments? It was all men. Like, why did they choose that? So those are some questions I was going to ask Mark, and hopefully we can have him on another day. If he can come on this week, we're going to be doing a live stream with Mark this week, okay? But or if I have another guest that possibly could come as well. And I just want to find out and hopefully answer some of your questions. So he did say he was going to be open to answering questions. So hopefully we'll be able to get him on and have him answer some questions, kind of get some understanding, if you will, on because like even most of us, we're going to listen to a lawyer summarize the case, and especially the Avate doing the closing arguments. And I just thought it was really informative. So I wanted Mark to come in. So hopefully we'll have him come on. I think it'll be great to have him stop by and give some insight, especially the, I wouldn't even say law student. I'm going to be honest with you, Queen Fab. You're being extremely gracious. I'm not even giving law student. I was not impressed with that at all. And I'm not saying that because I wanted Fani to fail or anything. I like good fights. Let me just tell you that. Dear Will Christian likes good fights. So I don't like I'm going to bring the weakest member to the team and then you just beat up on the weakest member. No, I want good fights. I want good fights. I just don't think that was a good fight. I just don't think that was a good fight at all. And no, so again, I don't even know if I can give him law student. He just did not seem like he knew what he was doing. And so I know, like another conspiracy that I have, and I promise you, let me go ahead and pull this video in so I can stop talking. Because I really get over here. And everybody, I just want you to know, everybody that's praying for Dear Will Christian and this eCam thing, I just want you to know your prayers are being heard, okay? Your prayers.
The promised.
All right. Give it spoiler alert. We're going to have him come in and talk a little bit. Hold on one second. There we go. So all y'all praying about me and this eCam. We're getting it together. Me and eCam are we're making a good team. So we're going to see how it works. But all right, let's go. Something else I was wondering was, were they planning on somebody else doing the closing arguments for Fani's case? And therefore, because that plan fell through, he got tapped at the last minute. I know that sounds kind of weird, but I'm just wondering if maybe that is why because again, he did not seem prepared at all. And that's an understatement. He did not seem prepared. He did not seem like he was ready to match wits with the four other, which by the way, man, that was arduous, man. Those guys, they just came, they did their homework. They understood what was going on, in my opinion, my observation. I don't think that the Avate's argument that the seeming improprieties were not there. Because again, I think most of us, the people on the outside looking in, we will make judgments and say, hey, if you see a man walking down the street holding a woman's hand, cuddled up with her, and walking down the street, you would assume that there's a relationship going on with them. So if you found out later on that that man was embroiled in some kind of affair argument, you'd be like, well, yeah, I saw him walking down the street holding a woman's hand. Well, sure, I never talked to the people. I didn't converse with them and find out what their relationship was, but I saw him walking down the street holding a woman's hand, kissing her on the cheek and doing this and the other. I think we as, again, just observers would say, hey, that looks pretty shady. That looks pretty suspect. But in the legal terms, there's a lot more that needs to go into it. And I just thought that would be fun to have a conversation with that. But let's talk with Viva Fry.
Update in the Fani, Willis, Nathan Wade.
All right, real quick, just want to make sure that you all can hear that. And it looks like you can. So I just want to double check that before. All right, cool. Let's go. Oh, that's why. Okay. I'm telling you, your prayers are being answered. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. The Lord is hearing your prayers. Don't you?
Judicial saga of the disqualification of the district attorney and special prosecutor. Closing arguments, people. And it was painful. Now, before we even get into the summary of the closing arguments, I had on the show as a guest before the live hearing, Phil Holloway, who is a Georgia attorney, was an amazingly...
Fun fact, I just found out Phil Holloway actually has an office very near my home. So prayerfully, I think that would be crazy to be able to have somebody like Phil or Mark stop by and talk about what they do. Phil Holloway is a former JAG, Judge Advocate General for the U.S. Navy. And man, he's a really smart guy as well. And I'm having a slight problem with my Ecamm. I'm telling y'all, man. Me and Ecamm gonna get together eventually. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that. All right, let's get him back in here. Okay. All right, let's get Viva Fry back in here. Let's go. Man, I'm telling you, man.
All right, everybody, this is the promised daily update in the Fani, Willis, Nathan Wade judicial saga of the disqualification of the district attorney and special prosecutor. Closing arguments, people. And it was painful. Now, before we even get into the summary of the closing arguments, I had on the show as a guest before the live hearing, Phil Holloway, who is a Georgia attorney, was an amazingly insightful man to have on the channel, has been following this case thoroughly. And we were talking about what he Michael Roman, who...
Sorry about that. I do want to point out, hey, there are a lot of, let me back this up. I messed that up. There are so many attorneys in this area. And I'm bringing that up because where Nathan Wade lives here in Cobb County and where he worked in Fulton County, between there's got to be a million attorneys. Like there's so many of them in this area right here that I'm not surprised that more of them are not jumping on podcasts, doing interviews and talking about it, because a lot of these people know one another. A lot of them know. Matter of fact, rewind. How many of you all heard that that phone call from Megyn Kelly? Megyn Kelly got a phone call from a waiter at a restaurant. Did you all hear that? Drop in the chat if you heard that interview with Megyn Kelly. Not interview, I'm sorry. The phone call from Megyn Kelly that she got. Did y'all hear that? Drop it in the chat if you did. I just dropped a question there. If you're familiar with it, okay. So your guy, dear woke Christian, just kind of being a little super sleuth and such like that. So if you listen to the phone call, the guy, so it's a guy, is pretty clear from my hearing that he is of the less melanated genre. Okay, I can probably guess that. But guess what? He mentions that he's on the square. And here in this area, we all know what on the square means. It's the Marietta Square, and it's restaurants that are facing the particular center of the square. Because you can say that you're, near the Marietta Square, or off the Marietta Square. But if you say on the square, a lot of the time it means that there's only few restaurants that are facing the Marietta Square. So driving through the Marietta Square, because my office is off of the Marietta Square, my studio is, I can kind of guess where I think this person was, because there's a few restaurants that are kind of high scale. I mean, you got a couple sandwich places, you got bubble tea that my kids like to go to, and so forth. But there's one, I was like, I bet you, I'm kind of tempted to kind of just poke my head in there and be like, hey, how are y'all doing? You had any guests lately? I'm really tempted to do that because I think I know where it is. So, of course, he could have been misspeaking, because there are some restaurants that are off of the Marietta Square. But if you say on the Marietta Square, we kind of know that what you're talking about. Like I said, there's a few places. And they said, I believe he said dinner. So there are other places that are off of the square that are not open for dinner. So I'm kind of thinking I know where it is, but it's just me being nosy. But anyway, let's continue and get done with this.
In March. And so I said, well, that's interesting. So he'll take his time to render the decision so as not to rock any boat, entice any activist to run in his seat.
He's up for re-election, or he's up for election for a full 4-year term in May.
Yes.
How do you think that influences his decision-making in this case?
Well, that's an excellent question. All right. So there's nobody currently that has announced that they're running.
Hey, y'all spam Phil Holloway and say, hey, you should come on Dear Woke Christian's channel. Dear Woke Christian would love to have you. Now, he is off of the Marietta Square, by the way. But his office, I know where that is, definitely. So, but tell him, say, hey, go on Twitter and say, hey, you should go follow Dear Woke Christian. He would love to have you come on and talk about this case. And he would be great conversation. Let him know. Say, hey, go check out Dear Woke Christian, man. I think it'd be great, because he's literally around the corner from my office. And I could go walk over and knock on the door. That'd be kind of wild, because we're both off of the Marietta Square. All right, let's go.
Against him that I know of. I've been asking around. I've been keeping my ear to the ground to see if anybody's coming out. Nobody's announced that they're running against Willis either. Qualifying, you got to qualify, and pay your money and all that to get on the ballot. That's this month. It's later on in March. And it's like a week. It might be 2 weeks. I forget, but people can research it and figure it out. It's a limited window of time. And a lot of judges who are unopposed, they literally are like, they're just watching to see if somebody at the last minute throws their hat into the ring to run against them. And once qualifying's over, they can breathe a sigh of relief if nobody runs against them. So we just.
Okay. So somebody asked that question, I think, on my live stream yesterday about the judge running for office, and he was kind of punting the decision for 2 weeks so that he wouldn't, basically chum the water to get somebody to jump in and kind of compete against them. You know what? I think that there's some validity to that. That makes sense. I don't agree with it. I hate it if that's what he's actually doing, to, delay the findings as long as he can, in order to delay possibly chumming the water for somebody to come after him. I hate that. But it's very possible. Let me show y'all this too, by the way. Okay. I do not approve of this message. So I didn't realize that she was running unopposed. That's crazy. Are they going to still reelect this woman? Are they going to reelect her? That would be bananas. Okay. Down here at the bottom, this is the part that is like crazy to me. So apparently they use all of the descriptors that people are using for Fani Willis in the positive sense as donation cues. So like 3,300 because you're focused, or 2,500 because you're tenacious, or $1,000 and you're worthy, and $500 determined, and 250 for admirable. So I do not approve of anybody. I do not approve of this. I do not want you to screenshot this picture and change these focus, worthy, tenacious, determined, and admirable terms and just replace them for places in her house that she probably stored stored money. So I do not approve of you saying like $3,300 in the fridge or $2,500 in the floorboard. I do not approve of you doing that. And if you do that, do not email me at dearwokechristian@gmail.com, dearwokec@gmail.com. Do not email that to me, because I will not post that on my community page. I will not do it. So do not do that. Don't email me a Photoshop picture of this with where these donations will be found in her house. Don't do that. Do not do it. I will not approve of that. Management does not approve of that. Did y'all have time to screenshot the picture? Did y'all get it? Let me move out the way. Make sure I'm out the way. All right, y'all go ahead and screenshot it. But I don't approve of doing that, by the way. And then changing like the name, the number, and the email down here. I do not approve of you, those kind of shenanigans. Do not do that. Don't do that stuff. You guys are better than that. You guys are much better than that. I don't approve of that.
No, if it stands the way it is now, and he has no opposition, then he'll start his own 4-year term next year.
Well, I would say strategically, then what he might do is take 2 or 3 weeks to draft a decision.
I think, a Senate could look at it that way. But the thing is, it's going to take him a while anyway.
The bottom line, and just the
and that's something else I realized, because I was a cynic. My name is Jason. That's Latin for cynic. I did think that, like, man, you should just come down off the bench and say, this is what it is, and be done, and go on to Aruba and take a vacation. No, he does have to take some time and give a succinct answer. And I didn't realize that. So I was a little bit, again, it's something I don't know. And as I said before, this whole case has been so fun because it helps us as just the observer, the people that like Law and Order or watch Matlock or all those kind of things like that, really understand how this works. What is what are the machine? What greases the machine of justice? What does that? Because I don't know. And I think we're all kind of learning together. So there you go, Oates. I know what you're doing there. Take me to Kokomo. Absolutely. All right. So let's finish up with Fry.
Line of all of it is that Scott McAfee said he expects that it should take him a couple of weeks to issue his decision because he's got to consider issues of fact, issues of law, yada, yada, yada. Get over here. All right. That's the punchline of the outcome. There was no decision from the bench. I don't think anybody was expecting a decision from the bench. Probably the most unlikely of unlikely outcomes. So Scott McAfee said, I'm going to take everything under deliberation. I'll have a decision within a couple of weeks. The day, however, started off with a little bit of drama because one of the lawyers for the defense for the RICO case people, Trump, Michael Roman, I forget who he represented, might have been Giuliani. It doesn't really matter. One of the attorneys for the defense says, we'd like to reopen the evidence because we've come across new evidence that we think should be adduced for the purposes of Your Honor's rendering his decision. We didn't know what it was. We still technically don't know what it was in the court because the judge said, no, we're not really opening new evidence. If you have to do it later, make your closing arguments today. But I have a little birdie as to what this new evidence was. And it turns out that it's an affidavit or a voicemail from a waiter at a restaurant who said, I'm watching this trial and I was watching Terrence Bradley testify that he had not seen or spoken to Nathan Wade within the last 2 years. I'm a waiter at a Georgia restaurant somewhere in the center, in the area. And I just served Nathan Wade, Bradley, and someone else, I forget the person's name, in the file 5 weeks ago. Nathan Wade sat Terrence Bradley down for a lunch upwards of 5 weeks ago, give or take. And I'm sure that they had a discussion in which Nathan Wade made Terrence Bradley an offer he could not refuse so as to ensure his future cooperation and future amnesia. I have no doubt they sat down and said, remember that alleged incident of sexual assault with that employee where you paid them 20 G's out of your escrow account? Well, we can maybe probably see that turns into a criminal prosecution if you don't forget real quick what you told Ashley Merchant in those text messages. So that was the drama of the day. The judge said, didn't even hear any of this in open court because they never got into the evidence that the lawyer wanted to adduce, but Megyn Kelly got her hands on the recording, as did I, but I was a little reluctant to publish the recording until I could be assured that it was in fact public or for public consumption and that I wouldn't be secretly disclosing an exhibit that wasn't public. But I did get a hold of the recording and I published it to our vivabarneslaw.locals.com community and then to Twitter afterwards. Here's the recording.
Hey, Ashley. I'm calling. So I just watched the Terrence Bradley hearing, and I noticed on there he said that he hasn't talked to Nathan Wade in 2 years. But I work at a restaurant here on the square, and
Okay, so there's on the square. So here in Atlanta, if somebody says they work on the square, again, that's Marietta code for a particular block area. You would say off the square. Like I tell people, my studio is off of the Marietta Square, but I try to get as much clout as possible. I'm like, hey, I'm 2 blocks away from the Marietta Square. You know what I'm saying? So I try to get some clout, but we were going to actually secure a studio place that was literally facing the Marietta Square. Trust me, if I had gotten that space and it had been working out, I would be telling people all the time, my studio is on the Marietta Square. So when he says he's on the Marietta Square, there's only so many restaurants that are on the square.
I waited on Terrence, BC Chopper, and Nathan Wade about 5 weeks ago. So I just saw that and thought maybe you should know that if you want to call me back.
And the state also had some evidence that they wanted to introduce, an affidavit from some dude in the Napa winery testifying to the fact that he remembers Fani Wade paying him $400 in cash when she was down there with Nathan Wade for the wine tasting tour. Such a pathetic act of desperation.
Let me do one thing before we get started. I'll put this on mute for the time being. There was an additional affidavit filed today, people. Fani Willis, in full meltdown mode, filed an affidavit from some dude in Napa Valley who testifies to the fact that he remembers her paying cash, $400 cash for some Grey Goose. Not for some Grey Goose. Look at this. Notice a file. This is from state of Georgia, yada, yada, yada.
Okay, I want to point out something too. And hear me. And, oh, by the way, just in case you don't know, shout out to all my new subscribers and people who follow me. Dear World Christian doesn't drink. So I don't know a lot about, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm an alcoholic novice, okay? I don't know much about it, but here's a question I have for you. Fani Willis made a lot of hay about the fact that she doesn't like wine and so on and so forth. I think we all remember that because I see people even commenting about the Grey Goose and whatnot. If I'm not mistaken, Grey Goose is a commercial liquor, correct? Like a spirits that you can get like the regular liquor store and whatnot. So if I went to a winery, I'm just making sure I understand this, they probably wouldn't be serving Grey Goose. Is that right? If you could comment in the chat, just let me know, am I crazy? You know, chat a goose, put a goose in there if you can find the goose emoji. And just let me know, am I going crazy? But I would think that if it's vodka. Okay, thank you so much, discernment file. So it's vodka. So that's my point. Like it's not something that you're gonna get at your local winery. If I go to Napa where they're making wine, the likelihood of me getting vodka is going to probably be pretty low. Is that fair? I mean, maybe they could. I mean, I understand they could, but it just doesn't seem like what you would probably expect to get. Isn't there a goose emoji in here? I thought there was. Okay, so now there's a reason why I'm asking this question, and you're going to hear it in a moment about. I personally, I think Fani Willis would have done herself another disservice by having this affidavit from the guy in Napa read aloud. And I'm going to explain in a second why I think that. But okay, so most people are saying, okay, it seems like most people, I see my goose emoji. Yeah, I don't know. How do you, Kiana, I don't know. Let me tell you, you know, Kiana, I don't know. I do not have time. I don't. I don't. If most of you, you know what? Hey, let me tell you real quick. Okay, so I'm somebody that really likes to drink a lot of liquid, a lot of liquid. So, you know, y'all familiar with my Stanley? It's full of water today. My Black Yeti is full of, you know what? Tell me what you think my Yeti's full of today. And it's not full of alcohol, okay? But so I drink a lot of drink. In my mind, I can never understand why would I want such a small amount of, you know, alcohol. My dad used to drink alcohol when I was younger, so I would see him drink, you know, just these little small bottles, glasses and stuff. Like, why would you want to drink that? Like, I want a big old Coke. I want a big, you know, 7 Up. Like, why would you drink that little tiny thing? I can never understand it. So my mind still can't understand why people would spend what I would pay for a large giant drink for something small. So I can't understand it. So that's why I never mess with it. I just want all my drink. Rick Caldwell knows what I drink. Caldwell Apologetics. I see him in the chat. All right, let's finish this up. Let's have some fun.
Who's this? Notice of filing states proposed supplemental exhibit 1 to the hearing on defendant's motion to disqualify. Comes now. That's probably not the best way for Fani Willis to start, or Nathan Wade to start. I'm joking. That's how they start all of them. State of Georgia, by and through Fulton County, District Attorney Fani Willis, etc., files this proposed supplemental exhibit 1 to the hearing on defendant's motion to disqualify. Proposed supplemental exhibit 1 consists of an affidavit from Stanley Herbert Brody, asserting 1, that on April or May 2023, Brody was working at the Acumen Wine Gallery in Napa, California. 2, that Brody greeted and met with District Attorney Willis and Special Prosecutor Wade at the Acumen Wine Gallery. That they got drunk and misbehaved. Just joking. That Brody exchanged pleasantries, spoke about wine, tasted wine, and discussed his profession with District Attorney Willis and Special Prosecutor Wade. And 4, District Attorney Willis paid the bill for the tasting with approximately $400 cash. That affidavit is attached to the state's proposed supplemental exhibit 1. Mr. Brody is available to testify at the court's convenience. Oh, yeah.
So I'm only pointing out because I thought during her deposition, her testimony, she said she had Grey Goose at the winery. And I could be misunderstanding it. I could be misconstruing it. Maybe I'm combining different thoughts in different statements. I am not an attorney. My name is Jason. I am not an attorney at all. I just think this thing is funny. And so I just think that she would only have opened up the door if she had brought this in where they're saying clearly that she drank wine or tasted wine at least. And she said she didn't like it, but didn't she say she had Grey Goose there? And I'm like, well, Grey Goose is a spirit. They don't serve hard liquor there, I would think. Maybe they do. Maybe they have a bar there at the winery. Maybe they do have a typical bar. I don't know, but it just seemed like that would have put her in a pickle again. Something other to explain, to justify, so on and so forth. I got money in my house, blood, sweat, and tears. Stunning and brave. Let's go.
Because it's totally relevant that at some point in Fani's life, she did in fact pay for cash. Like, that's the disputed fact here. Oh, it's an act of sheer desperation, people. We found a guy that says he paid cash. She paid cash. Amazing.
As though that would prove anything. As though what was at issue was that Fani Wade never paid for anything in cash. No, that was not what was at issue. But the funny thing is they can find someone to testify to the fact that she paid for something in cash, $400 at a winery, but couldn't find any evidence of actual reimbursement of cash from Fani Willis to Nathan Wade. The state just doesn't understand when they're raising arguments that actually undermine their own position.
I agree 100%. And I've said this before. Hello there. Oh, gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, President Firstborn has stepped in.
I came to tell everyone about my math IA.
Okay, come tell her. We are going to take an educational pause. President Firstborn is here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my delightful 16-year-old. Tell them, what are you doing? Your math
I'm making cupcakes for my math project. Making cupcakes for my math project, and I tasted the batter, and it was delicious. It was awesome.
Can you go put on a Morehouse sweatshirt so that...
But it's University of Pennsylvania.
I don't know about the University of Pennsylvania.
Womp womp.
Go at least go put the Morehouse apron on or something. Like, represent properly. What in the world are you doing? Get out of here.
Me, I'm just being a goof.
Now that is the understatement of the century.
Okay.
I love you, babe.
I love you.
Bye, babe. Don't bring me a cupcake. All right. No, don't bring me a cupcake. Don't bring me a cupcake to taste and try out on the show. Don't do that. Don't do it. Don't bring me a cupcake. And okay, just make sure it's cool though, and make sure. I have no idea why she's doing cupcakes for class. I have no idea, but here we are. So that's President Firstborn. If anybody ever hears me talk about her, Chief Executive Secondborn is probably in the living room with my wife watching Game Show Network. What century are we in?
As testified to, or at least pleaded by whatever the guy's first name is, Abate, when he made closing arguments for the state and Fani Willis. It was pathetic. But before we get there, that was the intro drama. Then we got into a little bit of the boring pleadings. It's closing arguments, people. They're going to plead the law. At first, you had Merchant's husband, I think his name is John Merchant, pleading the law. He had 20 minutes. He talked about the applicable case law, yada, yada, yada. Not the most enthralling thing on earth. Then you had Trump attorney Sadow come in, and he was damn good, but not the best. The best lawyer for the defense arguing for the disqualification of Fani Wade and Nathan Willis. I keep doing that. Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. I don't know which lawyer it was. He was amazing, and he basically said to Scott McAfee, the whole freaking system is on trial right now. We are a laughingstock of the international community because of what the world has seen transpire in this courtroom, because of what the DA has been doing in this file. It's a laughingstock, it's a joke, it's an insult. It's not just a conflict of interest. It's not just wildly improper conduct. It's a joke, and America, the American legal court system, is on trial here, and the international community is laughing its heads off. You know what to do, Scott McAfee.
Okay, before Grandpa gets in there, whoo, that was wild. Now I don't know. Again, I'm not a legal expert at all, but I enjoyed the closing arguments for that team. I have to admit, I thought they were well thought out. This is something else I didn't know, and I was going to ask Mark if Mark was able to come on, or maybe I'll save this as a question later. Why did they have 90 minutes? That's a lot of time. Like, yo. Why couldn't it just have an hour, man, or 30 minutes for crying out loud? Get it done and say it and be done. Like, is that normal that they have basically 3 hours of closing arguments? Like, man. And then also, I just want to know, like, how do attorneys stay awake? I would have passed out if I was sitting in the gallery or if I was a judge and just had to listen to this. Like, can they take notes? Can they jot down stuff, or do they just have to sit at attention and pay attention? I don't know, but man. Ooh, somebody just said it, and I agree with it. Atlanta must be stopped. Good to see you, Rick Caldwell. Thanks for coming in. Let's go.
Here is the DA cannot distinguish between her personal interests and ambitions on the one hand and her public duties as a prosecutor on the other, and apparently neither can anyone else in their office. Of the 6 conflicts I've identified, only one is subject to a conflict in the evidence. This is a case study in what happens when you operate under a conflict of interest. It's put an irreparable stain on the case. Think of the message that would be sent if they were not disqualified. If this is tolerated, we'll get more of it. This office is a global laughingstock because of their conduct.
Yes.
I'm sorry, because I've watched other people say that they didn't think that the 4 Musketeers did a good job. I'm like, I don't know what a great job would be then. I don't know what a great job would look like if that was not a very clear and succinct. We're making a laughingstock of our judicial system. My goodness, in the morning. Good gracious, man, that hurt my feelings.
Testify, whoever you. What's this guy? What's his
Grandpa.
name? Yes.
Grandpa.
The defense, that being Trump, Michael Roman, who brought this motion through, Ashley Merchant, Giuliani, etc., they raised the arguments that there's not just an actual conflict of interest, there's at the very least an appearance of conflict of interest for obvious reasons. They actually argued that Fani Willis and Nathan Wade should be disqualified, not just for the appearance of conflict of interest, which is patent, apparent, almost undeniable, as is the actual conflict of interest, but because of the, what do they call it, forensic misconduct, that because of what Fani Willis did outside the court, going to the church, claiming racism, impugning the names and the reputations of the defendants in an ongoing trial, that was forensic misconduct that also warrants Fani Willis and Nathan Wade being disqualified from the case. And they went hard on that. Fani Willis gets up in front of a church, in front of the pulpit of God, and argues that the only reason anybody's going after her is because of race. Because her boyfriend, although she didn't admit that she was actually having the illicit extramarital affair.
Oh, sorry, right this. I'm gonna point out again. I'm gonna go big. 85% of the problems that Fani Willis had in court were because of Fani Willis. Nobody made her go to Big Bethel. Nobody made her come storming into that courtroom to give that testimony. They were literally arguing that she should not. They all said they don't need her to come testify. Nobody needed her to do that. Nobody made her write that book. She did all of this on her own. And she created all of these problems for herself. And personally, I think she would have been much better served by saying, hey, here's the bank records, proof and evidence that this is what I did, that I did pay him back some degree, shape, or form. He wrote me a receipt back on a napkin, or here's a little printout of some my Cash App when I sent him some money back. That would have been much better than a lot of the stuff that she did, in my opinion, because they hammered her to the floor with that church speech. They even had a term for it, the church speech. And it was bad. It was. But I mean, I thought I had reviewed it, but man, when you hear how lawyers dissected the church speech, I'm like, why? My goodness, in the morning. Run her up the flagpole. So most of her problems came from her. She did those things herself. And I'm telling you, today is Saturday, and I will not be surprised if tomorrow she is in somebody's church. I'm not going to be surprised. And now that I know she's running for office, I'm almost guaranteeing she's going to be in somebody's church tomorrow. And if nothing else, they're going to be talking about her. I know that's going to happen. But yeah, so most of her problems are because of her. And I think that's because of her arrogance, because of her pride, because of her can't nobody check me attitude that she brings to the equation. And then another example. I think the reason Avate fumbled so horribly is because he literally was arguing for the career, the job, and dare I say the freedom of his boss. And right before he gets ready to get up there, his boss comes and sits down and plops down right behind him. And all he can feel is her staring at the back of his head, passing him notes while he's up here fumbling. One of those notes probably should have been a pink slip, but let us continue. Let's go.
With Nathan Wade in front of that church. She argued in front of the church that the only reason the big bad people were going after Nathan Wade was because he was black. It is outrageous. It's egregious. Hold on. It's preposterous, and everyone in that church gallery should be offended, outraged. So then, after all of the respective attorneys for the defendants had their kick at the can, it went over to Abate. It was an hour and a quarter of the most painful flubbing around. It was a joke. I mean, it was straight out of Billy Madison. Billy Madison's speech on the Industrial Revolution and the puppy that lost his way made more sense than what Abate was arguing in support of maintaining Fani Willis and Nathan Wade in the case. The guy couldn't keep a coherent thought. He said more ums and than Justin Trudeau on steroids. He was flip-flopping back and forth, misrepresenting the law, saying that the only law that applied here is an actual conflict of interest and not the mere appearance of conflict of interest. He was submitting case law to the judge that was actually disproving his own theories while misrepresenting that case law to the judge, but the judge knew better.
And so getting into the language again, what you just had up there with greater amusements and amusement sales. Greater amusements is one of those. You refer to the appearance of conflict as dicta. Why do you think that's dicta? I think the quote from that one is, it guarantees at least.
I'm going to say this also. I think he guaranteed. Now, I don't know if the other team, and please let me know, did the other team have PowerPoint presentation? I don't know. Did the defense team have PowerPoint presentations? I don't think they did. To me, once he whipped out his laptop, it was a wrap. I was like, yo, this is not going to go well. Is this dude literally pulling up a slide presentation? That's not going to work. I knew it. And I don't think that it didn't look like the gallery appreciated it either. But yo, let's keep it going. Let's roll.
The appearance of a conflict of interest. Why is that dicta? It seems very central to the holding in the case.
Because I don't disagree with Your Honor, but in that case,
I'm just trying to mislead you.
Conflict was found, and the appearance.
They didn't find that.
I would I would disagree with Your Honor. My reading of the case is that an actual conflict was found, but because of that actual conflict, an appearance of impropriety.
Look at Sadao in the corner.
And they went hard on that. Fani Willis gets up than Justin Trudeau on steroids.
Sorry about that.
He's misrepresenting the case. I'm just trying to mislead you.
Conflict was found.
Look in the back corner. Look at Sadao right there. Sadao, I mean, he is not having any of this foolishness. He is not having any of this. Oh my gosh, let's go.
I would disagree with Your Honor. I would
disagree with you.
My reading of the case is that an actual conflict was found, but because of that actual conflict, an appearance of impropriety was seen, and that's the reference.
This is impossibly bad.
Reference of that case in relation to the argument that an actual conflict is required.
This is impossibly bad, people. He's misrepresenting the cases, misrepresenting the law,
series of cases,
and misrepresenting the facts.
It was a joke, and it would have been funny if it weren't so damn sad. The guy's sitting there, his hands, he's clinging to the table. Because I swear to you, I thought he was going to faint. I thought he was going to pass out. At some point, someone on Fani Willis's team came up and gave a note to Abate. And I got to tell you, I don't know if that note said you're fired or you're going to be fired immediately after you finish embarrassing Fani Willis. But he got 2 notes. He was flustered. It was terrible. Just 0 on 10. And the jokes in the chat.
Okay, you know what? I do not approve of anybody. I do not approve of you making a meme of Avate finishing up his closing argument and then mixing it with one of Donald Trump's "you're fired" from The Apprentice. I do not approve of you making that meme and emailing it to me at dearwokec@gmail.com. I do not approve of that. I do not approve of that. But make sure it's like, properly vertical so I can use it as a short. I do not approve of you doing that. But if you did do it, make sure it's vertical so we can use it as a YouTube short, and I'll make sure I display it in another video. But I do not approve of you doing that, though. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please do that.
Are flowing like the wine at the winery where Fani Willis was off with Nathan Wade paying $400 in cash for wine. The jokes in the chat were relentless. And I'm thinking, who the heck is this lawyer? Is he a first-year lawyer? And the internet is an amazing thing. I found a decision which referenced the lawyer Abate. And here's an excerpt from that decision which shows you not just the capabilities of this lawyer, but the ethics as well.
And if you Google Abate,
oh no,
you'll find a decision in which Abate's name comes up. Set aside the context. I'll give the link is in the tweet. At the hearing on the motion, Glenn testified as follows. At the time of Thomas's trial, she had a pending shoplifting charge from Carroll County, which would be a felony because of her prior shoplifting convictions. The prosecutor who tried Thomas's case, Fulton County Assistant District Attorney Adam Abate, came to her house with an investigator about 2 weeks before the trial to ask them about her Altima. I guess that's the car. Glenn told Abate that she did not remember if Thomas had the Altima on the night of the murder. Abate told her that if she did not cooperate, she and her mother would be subpoenaed. Fine. After that interview, Glenn talked to the attorney representing her on the shoplifting charge and decided to meet with a prosecutor again. She talked to Abate at the courthouse during Thomas's trial. During that discussion, Abate noted that he was aware of Glenn's pending felony charge and said, quote, "I'm sure you don't want to go to jail," end quote. Told Glenn that if she answered the state's questions, quote, "as they wanted her to answer them, then her case will go away." On cross-examination at the hearing, Glenn testified that her trial testimony was not true, but she did not provide more details. That's who we're dealing with in terms of Abate, the lawyer who you just saw not skate, who you just saw fall through the ice and struggle to break the ice from underneath for 2 hours.
You know what? I got to pull this message up because this is what I mean. If they had allowed the winery guy to give a deposition or to give an affidavit, Keister Bunny says the testimony from the winery host should have been backed by a cash receipt. And you know good and well, if they didn't have that receipt, it would have only gotten worse. Because if the winery did not have that receipt and that man just got up there and said, "Oh yeah, she paid me $400," Oh, where did it go? All right. Oh, sorry about that. Let me pull that back up because that's exactly what I mean. Like this would have only sunk her ship. Winery Records. His last minute affidavit claim of cash payment seems like an after the fact cover your butt CYA story. I agree 100%. But see, that's what I'm saying. Like those guys, that would have been yet another fail. Because I promise you, they would have did that. They would have never had a receipt. It would have just been another person corroborating it. They would have found out that the guy was a drug dealer. The guy found out the guy never really worked there. He got fired for doing something crazy. And it would have only muddied the water more. She would have had even less credibility. And it would have been another fail by Fani Willis. Because please keep in mind, the other thing I want to point out, these are the people that want to prosecute Trump. So Avate would be involved in it. Fani would be involved in it. Nate would be involved in it. At the current moment, they don't seem like great lawyers. They're not coming across as well thought out, well ironed out. And imagine them having to put up with 9 of those guys, of Grandpa and Boots and Merchants. Imagine having to put up with 9 of them. Now imagine having to put up with 15. I'm sorry. It would have been a master class in legal wranglings for sure. I just don't think they would have pulled it off. But let's continue.
Fulton County District Attorney, he went to a witness and said, you're going to go to jail if you don't answer the questions the way we want you to. And go ahead and testify. There's a word for that, and I think it's called suborning perjury. I'm not sure. I'm not making any accusations. I'm just reading from a decision. Answer the questions the way we want you to, and you won't go to jail. Gee, I wonder who else they said that to. Maybe Terrence Bradley? And this corrupt idiot nincompoop Abate, I mean, he was sucking and blowing at the same time. He didn't know which way he was going, front or back, flip-flopping this way and that, just making arguments left, right, and center. Oh, it's not the appearance of conflict. It's an actual conflict of interest, but only in the result of the prosecution itself. My goodness, he was trying to hone down, define in a way that is not the legal definition, conflict of interest, so that what we now know is an obvious conflict of interest as relates to Fani Willis's conduct in this. Well, it really wasn't a conflict of interest, but only merely perhaps an appearance of conflict of interest because, Fani Willis had no vested interest in the outcome of the trial. Now that she's no longer dating Nathan Wade, I guess she doesn't have a conflict of interest anymore, maybe. Although he was trying to argue that Fani Willis didn't actually have an actual conflict of interest because she had no vested interest in the outcome of the case, as if that's the criteria, as if Fani Willis didn't benefit by hiring her boyfriend, siphoning $600 and some odd thousand of taxpayer dollars to her boyfriend without disclosing it, bypassing the requirements by law, as far as I understand, or ethics under Georgia law, so that she could then bestow onto herself travel, gifts, cruises, wine tasting things. Oh, no. But she paid him back for all of that except an admitted amount of at least $9,200. She had no conflict of interest. She had no appearance of conflict of interest. It was just verbal diarrhea for about an hour and a quarter. And then at one point, in an attempt to, mitigate the cell data information, he was saying, oh, these two were allegedly involved in a relationship, and yet we have no cell records, data records of Nathan Wade visiting Fani Willis's house, the one where her father was staying because it was so dangerous. We have no records of that, which is totally unlikely given that they were allegedly involved in a several years serious relationship, not understanding that the evidence of the case itself from Fani Willis's testimony to her father's contradicted that very argument. Fani Willis said, I'm a very private person and we kept this private. Fani Willis's father said, we never saw him. I never knew that she was dating him until 7 weeks ago when all of this broke. And so what you have is Abate saying, there's no evidence of a serious relationship here where you would expect to see Nathan Wade showing up at Fani Willis's house, because they specifically said we kept it secret, and so secret that even when they were admittedly dating, admittedly knocking the booties, even then.
We do not approve of that. We do not approve of that, Viva. We do not say knocking the booties. It was called a Fani call. It was a Fani call. We no longer use knocking booties. That's 1990, 1994. We don't use that anymore, sir. Please fix your language. Do better. Do better.
Fani Willis's father didn't know. He only discovered it from the news 7 weeks ago. It looked like this lawyer not only did not prepare for his closing arguments, it looked like he didn't even attend the trial. I swear to you, I could have done a better closing argument than this guy, and I would have probably kept it to 15 minutes, because when you see opposing counsel laughing as you're pleading, when you see the judge basically put down his pen, start shuffling his papers, he was basically asking Abate, are you done? Do you need me to put you out of your misery? Do you want me to tell you to stop? Because you're digging a hole so deep, my goodness, keep digging. mean maybe you'll get on your next cruise with Fani Willis in Australia. So that's it. That's the summary. I hear my kid, and I don't know what movie he put on TV, but I said, put on whatever you want, and I'm going to do this video, and then we're going to make a barbecue, a tomahawk steak. That's the latest. 2 weeks, give or take. I think it's going to be a little more than 2 weeks. Scott McAfee's going to come down with his decision. I am standing by my prediction. Fani Willis, Nathan Wade are getting booted from this file. I don't think they're going to dismiss the indictment. They'll find another district attorney from another county to see if anybody in their right mind wants to take this file on any longer. But we'll see. That's my prediction. You know what to do. If you like my stuff, like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment in the comment section. Viva Fry on Rumble.
I'll leave the link for that video. Excuse me. I'll leave the link for that video in the description as well. Viva Fry has been very entertaining. I'm finding him super entertaining, but even more than that, I find him very educational. And so that's why I've been highlighting his videos, because I think that most of us here are just your average run of the mill guys and gals. So we're not lawyers. We're not trying to be lawyers. We enjoy a couple episodes of Law and Order or Suits, and we just keep it moving. So having him come on and just kind of give his insight has been really helpful. So I'm glad he's able to do that. And one thing I want to point out again, the case was not a trial in the sense that a law was broken and people need to go to jail. Okay. Sadly, I do think there's going to probably be some fallout, that some people are going to go to jail because there was some perjury done there, in my opinion. However, if the best thing that the judge did for Fani was not have them go through and comb through all of that cell phone data, because I think if they had done that, they would, because everybody's thinking about, okay, well, Nathan going to Fani's house, they would have had to find out where Fani was going. So like, oh my gosh, I can only imagine the craziness that would have happened if they had gotten their phone numbers, been able to triangulate their phones and see everywhere that they were going when they went to Chattanooga, when they went up down to Florida, when they went to Texas, because their phones were with them. Oh my gosh, that would have been insane. So actually they did them a solid by just, allowing them to kind of talk about it on a high level without really pushing back and digging in. Because like I said, I'm pretty sure Trump's team already had that information. I'm going to go on a limb. I believe they had that information. They have her phone number. They have the triangulation. They know where they were together, so on and so forth. And they have the evidence of, where they were in Napa, where they were in Texas, or when they went to Tennessee, Florida, wherever, abroad. And I think they were just ready. It's already loaded in the cannon. And whenever we need to set fire, they're going to shoot it. I think they did them a solid because it does not look like their team was ready to answer those questions. To throw out speculations and such like that. And again, in this case, it's only the fact that they have to prove that you show some evidence of impropriety. Like, that's the thing. I'm like, this is not a situation. Somebody explained it like, if you put cookies in front of a little kid and say, don't eat the cookies, you come back and the cookies are gone. Well, mom and dad, we would immediately say the child ate the cookies. Okay. Well, in this case, all they're looking at is saying, well, the cookies are gone and you have crumbs on your shirt. You ate the cookies. That's it. That's it. That's all. That's it. So it is not as rough as like a criminal trial at all. And I think we can all agree like that this is inappropriate. Anywhere else, and please, if you're a Fani Willis supporter, I would love to hear what's the situation outside of this court. Like, would you put up with this if this was in your church? Take this whole Fani Willis story, put it overlay it over your church. Would you be okay if your pastor was involved with somebody like this, if the situation was like that? Or, your kid's school, would you be okay if the principal was involved with a teacher like this? Would you be okay with that? Give me a scenario outside of the courtroom, outside of the judicial and legal system, where you would be 100% okay with, let me see if the little reactions work. 100% okay. Okay, reactions. Oh, there you go. It's only got one though. Where's the other one? Okay, whatever. All right. But where would you be okay with this happening? And again, your HOA, your job. What about at your job? In the office, the CEO and, the somebody in the mail room are, having a Fanny call, and you're okay with that. Where would you be all right? There's no problem with that. I got no issue with it. It's perfectly fine. So especially if you're somebody that supports Fani Willis and thinks that she did an A-OK, fantastic, knockdown, drag out job, wonderful. Would you be okay? Where would it be outside of the system? Give me an example that you'd be okay with this happening. And this is something else. Queen Fab has been killing it. Great question, or great comment, please forgive me. Don't forget, they have ethics hearings either this week or next week. Why do they have ethics hearings? Why? Why do they have ethics hearings? Why? Because something ethical happened. Something happened that violated their ethical pledge. And so therefore, that to me, you don't have an air of no impropriety. I just don't see how they're going to do it. I just don't see how they're going to do it. It's on the judge at the end of the day. He's going to decide, and he can be like, Jason, go jump in the lake, keep yelling in your office at home, waiting for your kid to bring you a cupcake, but we're going to still keep it moving. Okay, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But I just don't think that I would love to hear somebody tell me, where would they be okay with this happening? Zeb Walton said, probably okay at an adult club. There you go. There you go. I'm just going to let that one go. I'm gonna put a star by that one so I can remember it afterwards. Like, where else? Like, is there anywhere else? Like, man, this is such a great idea. This is working so well at my kid's school. Man, so glad that the principal is engaged in the relationship with the janitor. Man, it's just been great, man. The janitor is now, assistant principal at the school and blah, blah, blah. Man, it's just wonderful. Or where would this be okay played out? Anywhere else? I mean, I don't, and see, this is a question. Black Cappuccino's back. Good to see you. Grace and peace. I wanted to know, like, what's the process? Is there, like, if Mark was able to come on today, or if I'm able to get someone else on, I just want to know, like, are there law licenses in jeopardy now? Is there any reason that they should be like, ooh, I'm in trouble? This has gone a little bit further than I thought. Are they in trouble at all with their law license at all? Yeah, so that's a question that I had. Let's see. I did have another YouTuber that I've been, as I told you all before, I've really been enjoying YouTube legal commentary about this topic. It just seems like they're just doing a great job. So I just wanted to highlight a couple of them. So of course we have Viva Fry. He's been just killing it. And so I wanted to bring in AV to the seventh power, who is another legal mind. I think she's just a newly minted lawyer, but she does a lot. She sits second chair with the lead attorney quite often. And she did a summary of the whole case and just kind of gave some high level commentary on the whole thing, which again, I think is helpful because a lot of us don't know what's going on. And I think having somebody else explain it to us in, pretty reasonable terms, you don't have to be super egghead about it. And I think AV to the seventh power does a great job. So I'm going to bring this video in. We'll watch it and then I'm going to probably answer some more of your questions and get y'all up out of here. Let's see if I did this right. Let's see if we did it right, Jason. It looks like we might have done it right. Y'all keep praying for me in this eCam, especially my YouTube content creator family. If you're a content creator.
Fani Willis, you saw that deal? Her boyfriend, she gave him $1 million.
All right. Hold on, Don. Let me finish that up. So if you're a content creator, I'm working on using eCam. I've been using eCam. Not bad. I'm having a good time. So keep praying for your guy. Let's hear what let's see AV to the seventh power. She just gave a good summary of it because I mean there's a lot. This has been going on for quite a few weeks. So I want to say almost 3, maybe even 4. But let's go back.
Bucks to go get Trump, right? And then they go on vacation, spending the $1 million. That's something. But the nice thing, it gets exposed. Eventually, it gets exposed. It's a beautiful thing.
Do you think prior to November 1st of 2021, you were at the condo more than 10 times? No, sir. So it'd be less than 10 times? Yes, sir.
Listen up, guys. So that's funny. Like, you almost, when you go back and listen to the question that he's asking, you already know. Well, now we know because of the beauty of looking back, but he already knew. He said 10 times. You've only been 10 times to the condo. You already knew that it was going to go south. You already knew it. All right, let me get out of the way.
Now, both Wade and Willis testified last week that they did not spend the night together at the Hateville condo. They said they didn't spend the night together.
Well, tonight, attorneys say phone records reveal at least 35 occasions when Wade's phone connected to cell phone towers near Willis's condo in Hateville for extended periods of time.
Shout out to AV to 7th Power.
If you've been living under a rock, then you don't know about the shenanigans that are happening in court. And primarily, we're talking about the shenanigans that are happening in the courts here in Atlanta, Georgia. Fani Willis and Nathan Wade, the district attorney and the special prosecutor that were prosecuting Donald Trump here in Georgia, have been assigned to the case. The allegations were brought forward in an early January motion by Trump's White House aide and co-defendant Michael Roman, claiming that the two have been engaged in an improper, clandestine, personal relationship during the pendency of the case, which has resulted in the special...
Y'all, let me tell you. Okay, I got to stop right here because I've seen this picture a lot. They know they wrong for catching Nathan looking like that. That picture right there is so inappropriate. That's so wrong. That's so wrong. Man, the angle on that thing is crazy. AV is in Atlanta, as far as I know. Yes. Yes, AV to the 7th Power is here in Atlanta. I need her to come. She'd come on the show too. I'd love to have her on the show and talk about it because they just got good insight. They know what they're talking about. But they're just wrong for that. They're so wrong. Oh, speaking of wrong, how dare you bring me a cupcake? I did not need a cupcake. All right, let's see real quick.
It's kind of this was the most normal one. For the purpose of my experiment,
Why does a cupcake look like that, baby?
Oh, I have to show you the other one.
Why do they look like this? Why did the cupcake look like this? Y'all, put a cupcake emoji in the chat for President Firstborn. What in the world? Oh my gosh. Taylor, Trina, what are you doing? Why does this thing look like that? Oh my gosh. It's an alien. It's a turtle. It's a turtle cupcake.
I was really scared when I saw it.
Why does it look like that? Why are you like this? Oh my gosh, man. Oh my gosh, my eyes are sweating. I'm like Terrence Bradley up in here crying in the witness stand. Oh my gosh, why does this cupcake look like this, baby?
Does it taste? It might taste it.
Okay. Why? Okay. I'm gonna try. Hey, I'm gonna try the turtle one in honor of turtles. Why? Where's the cupcake wrapper thing?
Non-existent.
You didn't put cupcake wrappers on? We don't have enough cupcake. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh!
Okay. To that one.
Oh wait. So wait. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull it up. I can't see. I can't see. My eyes. Okay.
Okay. So my experiment is basically putting the cupcakes at a different second heat. So this was at 400 all the way through. And so it like mutated basically because it was at such a high heat for so long. I just did it for the sake of my
experiment.
Oh my so now
gosh.
I'm doing the math in there.
Okay. Is there a reason? Okay. So, all right. So what is the experiment? What are you doing? Since this show's gone off the rails. So let's just go ahead and keep it careening off the hill. Like what are we doing?
My experiment is I'm trying to see if I can figure out like if I can make a quadratic formula to figure out to predict the height of a cupcake based on the temperature that it's cooked at. So I baked them at two extremes. Oh, the icing is non-existent. I actually hate icing, so I really do. It's kind of nasty.
Okay, so did you make these from scratch or did you use a kit?
Very much bought Devil's Food Cake at Big Lots and called it a night.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I didn't make these from scratch.
I mean, they taste good. To answer the question somebody asked, I can't see. I can't see because my eyes are sweating and took my glasses off. Somebody asked, is it good? So Susie says basically it's going to be the same.
Yeah, icing, I don't like it that much, but...
Oh, that's what she's saying.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So now I'm in the kitchen trying to predict the temperature if it's cooked at 375, or predict the height at 275. I'm ignoring that based on my formula.
Oh my gosh.
But that means I have to make the formula first.
Wait, so you didn't make the formula already?
Well, I needed to fill in the variables with something. So I'm filling in the variables based on these. The heights of these.
Okay.
All right. Bye, Daddy.
I love Bug. That was hilarious. Thank you, sweet girl.
Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy my little cupcake?
Oh my gosh. That was hilarious. Thank you, baby. I have no absolute clue what we were talking about. Oh my gosh, that girl's so funny to me. Yo, parents. Shout out to parents. I know people don't like my air horn. They told me they don't like my air horn, but I got to throw shout out. If you are a parent, you know what it's like. So she's now 16 years old. She's learning how to drive. Dad, I'm going out with my friends and all that kind of stuff like that. Let me tell you, if you got little people, hold on to them because they just get bigger and they get older. And next thing you know, they're in there baking because I don't hear any adult in the kitchen. So they're doing this all themselves. So I have no idea what's going on in my kitchen. I don't smell anything burning. She's happy. So clearly she hasn't killed anything in there. And they just grow up so quick, man. So just enjoy your kids, man. That's my little PSA. Enjoy your kids. And yeah, that's it. All right. So let's finish up with AV to the 7th power.
Prosecutor and its her, the
picture.
district attorney, profiting significantly from this prosecution at the expense of taxpayers. Willis and Wade both testified last week to the extent of their relationship and whether Wade benefited financially from their now acknowledged romantic relationship. Willis has said that she and Wade were not in a relationship when Willis hired him as a special prosecutor in the case against Trump in 2021. She has denied any wrongdoing.
Never ever. Never.
Before we go anywhere and before I get into this, it's very important for all of you guys to understand what perjury means. The act of an instance of a person's deliberately making of a falsified statement while under oath. What does that mean? Lies! Especially the willful utterance of untruthful testimony under oath or affirmation before a competent tribunal or a point material to adjudication. First thing we are going to talk about is Trump's bombshell affidavit, where we see that cell phone towers place Fani Willis and Nathan Wade in the same place at the same time.
Here I come. Oh, here I come. Oh.
35 times in 2021. The second part of this is
And so let me go back. I really think that if they had really wanted to, they could have dug in and found them together in 2020. They could have gone back and found them in 2019. I think they would have. I think they only stopped at 2021 to just prove that it was before when they said it was. But it could have gone further. That's what I'm saying. Like, I think if they had pushed the matter, they would have only got. If they had pushed the matter, it would have got badder. There you go. Bars.
Attorney Willis's response states that District Attorney Willis was elsewhere. That's interesting, including at work at the Fulton County District Attorney's office and this is now in caps, ladies and gentlemen, and visiting the 3 crime scenes where a mass murder motivated by race and gender bias is taking place. Wow.
I'm dead.
Wow. I knew the strong arm was coming. Oh my God, I felt it. I felt it coming.
Hell no. I mean, you want to talk about muddying the waters.
Everything in the kitchen sink.
But I can't believe she said, and in fact, on multiple relevant dates and times, the evidence demonstrates that Fani Willis, was elsewhere, including working at the Fulton County District Attorney's Office and visiting 3 crime scenes where a mass murder.
This is yelling murder.
A mass murder motivated by race and gender had taken place, man. Fani getting messy as hell. So now what she's doing is she is attacking the Cell Hawk analytics directly. This is not a collateral attack. This is not a peripheral attack. This is not a side attack. She is attacking the evidence directly. She's saying that the Cell Hawk information doesn't show what y'all think it shows. It's only showing ranges. It's not showing that Nathan's phone was sitting on my nightstand charged in at 2:38 in the morning. It's not showing the nightstand.
And I wasn't there.
I was
at a crime scene.
I was at a gravesite.
However, if we summarize the content of the affidavit, it's really centered on a few things. In this affidavit, they talked about a report which is labeled as Exhibit A. This report showed from January of 2021 to November of 2021, there were indeed 35 visits. This directly contradicts what Nathan Wade and Fani Willis have told us on this stand.
Can you explain why you filed for divorce one day after you were hired by Miss Willis? You filed on November 2nd of 2021. You're hired on November 1st of 2021. Why the day after?
You mean one day before? So
you filed for divorce one day after you were hired, right?
Okay. I'll answer your question.
Okay, please.
So in 2015, when my wife had the affair, we had a conversation that we would divorce right then. Again, the better practice, at least for my children at the time, was to stay in place until the youngest could graduate and matriculate into college. We did that. When she graduated, matriculated into college, at the time, my wife had moved back and forth to Houston, to Texas. So she's in Texas. We take our child off to college. We come back to Georgia for a brief period of time. Divorce gets filed. She gets served. There we go.
You did all that in one day?
Now, the reason that date was selected.
Yes, sir. That's what I asked.
The specific reason that specific date was selected was because she was only in town for a brief.
Your Honor, this is attorney-client privilege. Why he decided to file this?
And why do you have the right to object on his behalf for attorney-client privilege?
Because.
Well, I don't make formal.
All right.
Where we talk about talk about
We had a conversation that we would divorce right then.
I'm sorry, hit that button. Can we all agree that Avate and this constant I object, can we just agree that he did them no service at all? Can we just say that in 2024? Can we just say, yo, this guy, he did not do them any favors whatsoever? And I just don't get it. I don't get it. Because to me, they had better attorneys that they should have used, should have had. I'm like, why? Good gracious. All right, let's go.
Again, the better practice, at least for my children at the time, was to stay in place until the youngest could graduate and matriculate into college. We did that. When she graduated, matriculated into college, at the time, my wife had moved back and forth to Houston, to Texas. So she's in Texas. We take our child off to college. We come back to Georgia for a brief period of time. Divorce gets filed. She gets served.
Man.
There we go.
You did all that in one day?
Now, the reason that date was selected.
Yes, sir. That's what I asked.
The specific reason that specific date was selected was because she was only in town for a brief.
Your Honor, this is attorney-client privilege. Why he decided to file this.
And why do you have the right to object on his behalf for attorney-client privilege?
Why do you have the right to be talking to me?
Well, I don't make one more.
All right, there we go.
You ain't got the right to talk.
That was interesting.
I believe that he's already attempted to answer this question and there was no privilege raised. So he's given a partial answer and now he's about to.
That is some bull. The lies. There you go. This bitch. The lies.
The second part that's in Trump's bombshell affidavit is Exhibit C, which is a geofence report. And in that geofence report, where we talk about cell towers, we talk about the proximity, the investigator that supplied the report was fair. These visits, which were highlighted in the affidavit, took place at late hours at night, where Nathan either traveled there at 10 p.m. and left at 3, or Nathan traveled there at 11 and left at 4. Fani Willis and Nathan Wade had exchanged over 2,000 phone calls and 12,000 interactions. And those interactions consist of text messages, and you guys have eyes, like sometimes we hit the heart button or the like button.
Hey, yo, if you're an iPhone user, stop doing that. Don't nobody care. Android people do not care that you like a picture. So just stop it. I know I'm starting a war. I know I'm starting a fight. Come at me. DearWokeC@gmail.com. iPhone people, stop liking the message. Nobody cares. Just stop it. Nobody cares. Anyway, those are just those interactions that they had. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
Or, you know, if we like a text or certain things like that, that qualifies or falls into that bucket. The phone records contradict Willis's timeline.
He got a call at 11:30. He didn't even hang up. While the call was still ongoing, the phone traveled from his house to her location and arrived at 12:43 and didn't leave that location until 4:55, damn near 5 o'clock in the morning. 5 o'clock in the morning, early yawning in the dawn.
That's like a Netflix and chill night, you know? Like you're on the phone, like, let me talk to you about my day. And you're driving all the way down there. You get there and you're spending like 5-6 hours there.
They're acting like 23-year-olds, 25-year-olds, calling each other up. What you doing?
What you doing?
You know, what you doing, big head? It's a
big head.
50-year-old woman is calling a grown man at 11:30 at night. And then he goes over there, the phone stops, and then the phone picks back up at 5 a.m. in the morning. What did you do over there, Nathan?
I was still married.
What did you, yeah. AV broke it down. Said they're still married, guys.
That divorce is not finalized yet.
Nope.
Yes.
Let's talk about Willis's response, and it is really based on legal technicality. To summarize, Willis's court filing had 4 key arguments. Number 1, defendant Trump provided no written notice to the state. Defendant Trump provided no summary of the purported expert's testimony. Defendant Trump provided no information related to qualifications of the witness to serve as an expert witness, and this is the man that wrote those reports. Number 4, no notice was provided at least 7 days before the hearing that began on February 15th of 2024.
So your office objected to us getting Delta records for flights that you may have taken with Mr. Wade.
Well, no. I object to you getting records. You've been intrusive into people's personal lives. You're confused. You think I'm on trial. These people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020. I'm not on trial, no matter how hard you try to put me on trial.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Can I talk?
Yeah, what's the
mind?
answer?
I do want to say this. I'm sorry. I do want to say this as, again, I think most of Fani's problems were self-inflicted. She did that to herself. She didn't even have to be on that stand. But because she wanted to, she put herself in that position to say some stuff, flub up on some things. She didn't have to be there. But that's just, it's her fault.
A lot of bullshit.
Whoa, sorry.
The denial of Trump's claims and issues of correct procedural steps is what Fani stood upon. She wanted that 14-day notice. She wanted that 7-day summary. She wanted an opportunity to respond. Before we jump into Trump's response to her response, there's a few really important things that we need to talk about. Number one is notice. What is notice? Legal notification required by law or agreement or imparted by operation of law as a result of some fact. Definite legal cognizance, actual or constructive or an existing right or title. When does it apply? Notice applies when 5 things happen. One of 5 things or either or in combination. Notice applies when a person has actual knowledge of it, has received information about it, has reason to know about it, knows about a related fact, is considered as having been able to ascertain it by checking an official filing or recording. Notice is important here because Fani is saying that Trump did not put her on proper notice. She wanted 14-day notice. She wanted to be notified 2 weeks before this document was entered into court and shared with the public. Fani is also in her argument attacking the credibility of the expert. Fani Willis here is really attacking the authority. We don't need to go that far, and here is why. Trump responded to Fani Willis' document, and the response is really centered on 2 major arguments. Middlestat is not being offered as an expert witness, so neither the court's standing discovery order nor Daubert applies, and it is relevant. Let's go to the first argument. The first argument is Middlestat is not being offered as an expert, so Daubert does not apply. What does that mean? There's a case, and that case is Daubert. It's one of the landmark U.S. Supreme Court cases, Daubert v. Merrill Dow Pharmaceuticals from 1993. This case significantly impacted the admissibility of expert witness testimony and scientific evidence in federal courts. The Daubert standard is now used by judges across the nation to determine admissibility of all expert testimony, not just scientific evidence. The implication of the Daubert ruling extends to expert testimony in various fields, including medical, technical, and other specialized areas. What the Trump team is saying here is that, yes, Daubert's a case. Yes, that is the authority. But we are not offering this person that wrote this affidavit as an expert. Instead, argument 2 is we are using this for external impeachment relevant evidence. In the Trump argument, it says it is true that Rule 608B limits extrinsic evidence when the primary evidence is nothing other than evidence that is offered to prove a witness's, yes, I'm clapping, lack of credibility on some prior bad act. The Trump team says it's not being offered for the purpose of showing a prior bad act that impeached the witness's credibility. Instead, it's being offered to contradict the testimony of a witness. This affidavit is instead being offered to prove that there were lies on the stand. Willis and Wade are facing allegations that she misused taxpayer funds and crossed ethical boundaries during the couple's romantic relationship. Last week, 2 days of hearings before Fulton County Superior Judge McAfee captivated the nation's political attention, and McAfee could issue his decision in the coming weeks. Everyone wants to know, are these parties prosecuting Trump with integrity? Are they operating with integrity? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Stay safe out there. See you in the next one. Bye.
All right. Shout out to AV to the 7th power. That was just a little summary. I thought she did a great job, and I wanted to give her a shout out and support a young lady that's doing great work out here on these YouTube streets. So shout out to her. So what do y'all think? I want to hear your thoughts. Again, I apologize. I thought I was going to have a guest on today to answer your questions, and I hope to have him on again. Hopefully we can do this. We'll run it back. He already told me he's going to do a rain check, and I'll let you know, and maybe we'll do it during this week to talk about it. That'd be great to do it on Thursday. but I'll let you know Tuesday or Thursday. It would be wonderful. And just to hear his thoughts on this case. And hopefully by then who knows, maybe the judge will come back and just be like, bam, here it is. I'm done. Going to Aruba. Anyway, but what do you think? What are your things? I see some people right here. Fani's going to win. Like I said, this case is over. Fani team wins. All right. But we got a conflicting idea here. Mr. Canuck says Fani going to lose. Sorry. All right. Fani thinks her title makes her better than everyone else. I agree with that. They lied under oath. That should preclude them from being involved in the motion against Trump. Who will step up, or rather step into those empty shoes? I think that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, she is old enough to be a grandmother. Absolutely. No, Fani, no one is above the law. Yeah, Fani, that includes you. She's been in Fulton County since 2002. So a long time. Absolutely. Man, she's running for office too in the midst of this. Now, this is interesting. Sandy, Colorado says, now Fani is against geofencing since it's worked against her. I would hate for her because she's in the midst of, I think, 2 other trials at the current moment. I would hate for her to be using geofencing in that street gang trial and then be argued against geofencing in her own. That would be amazing. Very few people, Q says, get prosecuted for perjury. Okay. But I wonder if they're attorneys. That'd be my only question. She's a chief demon named Jezebel. Black Cappuccino says. All right, I'm still at 80-20. I'm still at 80-20. I believe that the judge is going to come back with a kick him out. I still believe that. Yeah, and Joseph makes a great point. No Republican counties in Georgia will take this case. You're probably right. So yeah, that's why I believe it's going to just go ahead and it's going to get dismissed because nobody's going to pick it up. They're going to throw out Fani. They'll throw out Willis. They're going to disqualify the DA's office of Fulton County. And then they're going to look around like, who else want this? Who got this? And everybody it's going to just fade away. That's my thoughts, of course. And we watch YouTube says, I think Fani's office is going to be removed from the case. I agree with you. Good night, Shauna. Good to see you as well. Shauna, good to see you. You can't stop a train by standing on the tracks. Fani has been barred through the judicial system like a locomotive, barreling, and did not take into consideration she isn't the train. Truth is, I like it. Fani will lose. Kim says, why wouldn't there be an interview or something about the person who accused Bradley of SA by now out talking, telling her story? That's another great question. Now, yeah, I don't know. That's a wonderful question. I'm only wondering, this is something I'm thinking about, going back to, who is that? Rick T asked that question. Okay, so my thought is, if maybe it's in the process because it's not really germane to this trial at all. It's not related to this trial. So therefore, they're not making a big hay out of it. However, it is going to be germane to another case that might be coming up, aka Terrence Bradley being caught up on some kind of getting caught up in something. So maybe then it'll come up. Maybe. I mean, that's my thoughts. All right. If they get indicted, discernment file says, I'll be real surprised. I think most people, Queen Fab and Kiana, I think most people have shared your same sentiments. I was exhausted after Abate finished. I just didn't know where I was. I'm like, what's going on? What is happening here? I didn't get it. And I was trying my best to pay attention too. I was not just, armchair quarterbacking. But I was like, I don't get what you're talking about. What are you talking about, my man? We watch YouTube. Says Trump has that information. I'm 100% confident that if they needed it, if they asked the question, they already got the answer. That's what I'm understanding now. Kemp can fire her because he's the governor. Yep, he can. They need to bring it out anyway. Bring out what? The whole situation's ratchet. I'm with you. Yes, please follow Chicken Grease. While you're here, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Thank you so much. In Texas, they were probably in the hill country, lots of wineries and distilleries out there. I think they were in California for in Napa. That's what I understand. But I think they moved his daughter to Texas to go to school, if I'm understanding correctly. But it's still weird to me that he's jet setting around, kind of like Ashley said in the text messages. They were really reckless, man. Like to be quote unquote trying to be private, they were all over the place. I mean, I am 100% confident that Trump's team has secured some Ring cameras, some closed caption restaurant cameras, some doggone Tesla cameras somewhere. There's just too many cameras around in the world that we're in that somebody didn't get a video of this. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, I guarantee you they probably did. Yeah, I don't think any. It would have to be somewhere so far out of pocket. And see, that's what Trump's team argued, that she had sullied the entire jury pool by saying that it was a racially motivated argument. That's what the church speech came into play. And I think it was Sadao or Grandpa, one of them, argued that, hey, when she said it was racist, she muddied the entire jury pool. I hate to say it, this thing might have to leave the city. I'm sorry, leave the state, not just the county. I think it'll leave the state if it gets disqualified. And how dumb does Nathan Wade feel? Not only is he exposed for cheating on his wife, but he also was creeping on Fani with another side piece. I mean, he was wild. They were wild. And that's the point. This is the point I think that, I forgot his name, Maddox, his grandpa. Grandpa made this argument that they're supposed to be the top lawmen in the country, or at least in the county. And this is what they're doing. Abuse of power is never okay. Jamal Bryant is a pastor who allegedly dating co-pastor. So Atlanta is okay with everything, which is why it must be stopped. Is he dating that woman? I wouldn't be surprised. Let me just say it like that. I shouldn't act surprised. There's no way I should be surprised at all. Oh, somehow or another, I've caught up with tons of other comments. Thank y'all. Oh, by the way, thank you so much for the super chat. Willie Doc in the building. My man, thank you so much, Willie Doc. DWC, you must get that Billy Madison clip queued up. You know what? I have it. I just don't have it on my stream deck, and I will get it ready. I'll make sure I'm ready next time. But sadly, I think we might go back over over the Abate's closing argument anyway. So yeah, see, Queen Fab I like Queen Fab. Y'all Apple people, stop liking comments. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care. Wade is a gigolo. He had dates with others in the office. I mean, he was wild. He was wild for sure. You know, I'm looking real quick. I don't see anybody with a better place that they would be fine with these antics playing out in. I don't see anybody saying, hey, I would be fine with this happening at my church, or I'd be fine if this happened at my kid's school or in my own office. Nobody. So why would we be okay with it proceeding in the judicial system? I don't know. I don't know. And I think that's going to be, to me, that's part of the problem. Like, there's no way that if you can convince people to see like, yo, there's no way that this is acceptable behavior. And I think that's what's going to end up happening is people will be like, yo, this is unacceptable. We can't allow our law enforcement to operate at such a low level. Now, James Irwin right here, and this is part of where I was going to go. And I would love to do that video of from Woke Preacher Clips where he just highlights all the churches that are regaling and venerating Fani Willis. I think I'm going to do that one tomorrow. I know we kind of joked about K-Dub and I doing it, but we might do it tomorrow. But this is the point, though, and this is really the issue that I see with the Black church. We are not willing to hold each other accountable and say this is not acceptable behavior. New Birth Missionary Baptist Church will not say that Jamal Bryant is out of order. The Dream Center will not say that William Murphy is out of order. They won't say it. And there's countless others examples. I'm just using those two because they're here in Atlanta and Atlanta must be stopped. But we will not say this is inappropriate. Your behavior is not acceptable. What you're doing with these young ladies, what you're doing in this capacity is wrong. It's wrong. And we do not want you to no longer be our pastor, no longer represent us because you misrepresent the body of Christ. You misrepresent the church. And until the Black church is willing and able and ready to actually say that kind of stuff, James Irwin, I don't think that Irvin, I think they are going to stay in a constant state of being hustled and being pimped out, allowing spiritual money laundering to transpire, where people like Fani Willis can come in, say and spout utter foolishness. She literally ruined her own case by going there. And they just as happy as today is Saturday. Just as happy as larks. And if we're not willing to hold ourselves accountable and say, no, this is not acceptable. No, we're not going to allow this. Until we do that, and I'm saying we as the highly melanated Christians, okay? I do not support the idea and the notion of the Black church, but it's a reality. So let's just say what it is. There are churches that are predominantly mono-ethnic, no problem. But if they're not going to hold themselves accountable and say, no, we can't allow false, phony, and fake politicians to step into our pulpits and lie and race hustle and scam and sell snake oil from the pulpit. If you don't stop that, then there's nothing, you can't do anything with just miss me with what you're talking about politics. If you have Jamal Bryant in your pulpit, you have William Murphy in your pulpit, you got Creflo Dollar in your pulpit, and you're not willing to say no. If you have John Gray in your pulpit and you're not willing to say no and stop, this is not acceptable, then don't bother me about what politics is. Don't bother me. Really don't bother me because you are not willing. If we're not willing to hold each other accountable and say, in this space, we have to hold each other to the standard. And John Gray, William Murphy, E. Dewey Smith, Jamal Bryant, there's so many of them. It's an exhaustive list. If we're not willing to hold each other accountable, then we can't do anything else. So we might as well just let it keep running amok. I don't care. Oh my gosh. You know, Paul Howard is laughing. Her whole campaign, that's right, was how unethical he was. That's a good point. Judges hate to have their names associated with case law, really, or overturned cases. This man, this poor cat, just started as a judge. That's right. And his 100% would be overturned if he goes on. Yeah, that's true. I hope it's a replay and not live. What do you mean? Oh, I 100% believe that Trump. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think. Yeah, for them to ask questions that seem so specific, you know that they already have the answers. Grace and peace, K-Dub. Good to see you, man. I had that video, Dogs of War. I had that video, Dogs of War says Fani did an interview where she said she wouldn't sleep with her employees. That video is funny. It did not age well at all. It did not. All right. Yeah, Wade has never tried a felony case. She caught, okay. All right, so we're talking about Jamal Bryant. So Tasha K caught Jamal Bryant and co-pastor holding hands in Florida. I need a little bit more information on that, but look, hear me. I'm not saying that he didn't. He's not misbehaving, because Jamal Bryant does misbehave. I just need a little bit more information on that one, though. But I know what you're talking about. Hey, I'll take it. We need is the mayor running? I don't think he's running this year. He might be. All right. If justice prevails, Fani will be found guilty. Amen. It's okay. A new birth with Jamal Bryant. They are propping her up. I wouldn't be surprised. If she shows up there tomorrow, I will not be surprised. I fully expect Jamal to talk about it. I totally expect him to. Yeah, what's done in that darkness, Zeb, will come to light. Yes, it will. She was elected with the help of powerful people whose affiliates were facing some major gang charges. After dropping several cases and she changed her stance and went hard, alienating, please forgive me, her base. Okay, I see what you're doing there. Now, this is an excellent question, Bird Dog. A DA dating her prosecutor, how can anyone get a fair trial? I mean, to me, I think it's only going, if she stays on, if Nathan stays on, if the DA's office stays on, this is going to be the specter moving forward. Like, oh, well, you're dating somebody in your office, or you selected somebody who's your boyfriend, and you're not going to give us a fair trial. I can see that coming into play all the time now. Dogs of War says the judge will most likely throw Wade off the case, okay, and let the ethics committee take care of her. Oh, goodness gracious. I need to lock the door.
Whatever.
What's up?
My formula worked.
Okay, so, all right, so come here.
Yes.
So tell me what are you saying? So,
oh, my formula update, guys. My formula that I literally spent 20 minutes trying to figure out. I figured it out and it worked.
Okay.
Whoop, whoop.
You didn't go put on a Morehouse sweater, I told you.
No,
At least go put on a Morehouse apron.
I've been working.
Working? Goodbye.
Hard at work. Cupcakes. No, these ones are even bigger.
Oh my gosh.
These are 5.1 centimeters instead of, but they're not mutated.
That's interesting.
Ones. Even though I cooked them at a lower temp, they're.
So the lower temperature ones got bigger?
Yeah. Okay, so the ones I cooked them at 400, and then I cooked them at 225. I cooked them at 400 for 5 minutes and 225 for 10, just to have like a control.
Oh, I thought you cooked them all at one temperature. Oh, okay.
And so those were like pretty small. Those were basically raw, but I needed it for my data. And then the ones I cooked at 400 for 15 minutes straight, those were the mutant ones that I showed you.
Oh, there we go. There you go, right there.
Fulton DA. Oh, I'll do it. Just for silly ha-has. I'll do it.
Okay.
Everyone vote for me.
All right. So Trina's going to run for Fulton County DA. You know what I got to say about that?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
But then I cooked them for 400, this most recent batch. The Alec Baldwin case. Okay, guys, serious question. Do we think he should have been charged?
Yes.
Was it ever?
Okay, wait, how are we talking about Alec Baldwin? Oh, there you go. I should keep it that. Oh my gosh. Dogs of War, don't get us started. Now you got us going down another track. I think so.
Why?
You were misusing the prop.
I thought he didn't know it was loaded though.
I'm sorry. If you drive a car and the brakes go out and you run into somebody, you're responsible that they're going to hold you responsible for it as well.
But I don't love that law either. I'm not the biggest fan of that law either. But
If the brakes went out and ran over my toe, I bet you'd be happy that the law exists.
I don't know.
It depends on what side of the car you're on.
I don't know, King. I don't know. Like, I know, I get why, but I don't know how I feel about it.
Okay, well,
But either way,
go pray.
My cupcakes are ginormous right now, and I'm loving it. My parabola is looking like a parabola. Guys, the vertex was not at 400.
Okay, get out of here.
Bye.
Bye, baby.
I'll
I
leave
love
you
you.
alone.
Thank you, sweet girl. Shut the door. Ladies and gentlemen, if you just came in, that is President Firstborn. She's doing a math project checking if temperature played a role in how big cupcakes got. I think that's basically it. So she was cooking them at one temperature, then cooked them at another temperature to see how big they got. And she had to make a formula to determine her results. So that's President Firstborn, ladies and gentlemen. Thank y'all so much for that. That's her. Okay, so now everybody's talking about the heat transfer through the pan takes time too. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on. See, Brian likes the Jamaican air horn. Come on, give Brian an air horn. I didn't know Newt Gingrich was still even saying stuff in politics. Sandy says that Newt Gingrich came out and said Fani was ordered to go after Trump by her higher ups. I don't doubt that. She was raised by a good man, so she will be a great DA. Okay. I'm who are you talking about? No, Trina, don't go anywhere near Fulton County. I mean, we live close to Fulton, but I mean, we're in Cobb County. Please forgive me. But also, I do want to push back on something. I hear a lot of people saying that Fulton County is all black. That is not true. Fulton County is not all black. Fulton County is Fulton County is much more diverse than people make it out to be. So that's just something else that I mean, they could have a non-black DA. It's not just guaranteed that they have to have a black DA because there's only black folk in Fulton County. Let me just pull up the census data. Because Fulton County is a little bit more diverse than that. It's not. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. What did I do wrong? I messed that up. Did a terrible job, Jason. Yeah, Fulton County is not. I mean, because it's one of the largest counties in Georgia, and it spans like 70 something miles from end to end. So it's huge. If you're like, it literally swallows up like two other school districts. Like the Atlanta Public Schools is inside of Fulton County. That's how big Fulton County is. So no, it's not. I don't have a good demographics, but it's a little bit more diverse than that. So we don't have to say that it only like they're stuck with these people. They have other options. I mean, if K-Dub wants to save a cupcake, I will tell her to save you a cupcake. Well, thank you so much, Kim. Innocent until proven guilty. If they can't prove, knew it was loaded, kid is right on this. Oh, so we're talking about the Alec Baldwin. Yeah. I don't know. And I have to admit, going back to the initial question, I think Dogs of War asked, I'm not keeping up with that. I know other people have been keeping up with it, and maybe I should poke my head over there and see what's going on, but I have not been keeping up with it. So I was just giving a very general throw them in jail argument. All right. Oh, well, thank you so much, Betacali Garcia. What? Cobb County in the building? Cobb County? We can go to Marietta Square. Meet up at the square. We'll do a meet up at Tiny Bubbles on the Marietta Square. I keep telling her this discernment files. I keep telling her this. I need my kids to know how to cook. I need them to know how to cook. If nothing else, at least when they go to college, they can at least feed themselves. And not be some Uber Eats or something. Interesting. Okay, so I don't know. This is a great question about how many ethics violations do you think Fani will have? I will say 8. Okay, because I don't know all of the ins and outs of the ethics claim. So what I would need to know is, like, is there somewhere I can read all of the ethics that could possibly, even just the ones that could possibly be in play? Because I don't know. I do think that there was a lot of unprofessionalism. I do think there's some problem, but I don't know if that's an ethic violation. I do think that she mishandled information. I do think she lied on the stand. So there are other things like that. And are those ethic violation worthy type of scenarios? That would just be my question, because I don't know. That would be my only thing. All for the Smoke of the City said, I think there needs to be a Terrence Bradley story. His role in this is hilarious. Yeah, I can give you that. 45% of Fulton County's tax base is Buckhead. And if you're not familiar, Buckhead is definitely a very affluent neighborhood, very affluent section of Fulton County. And it's predominantly of the less melanated kind. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not, I hear people saying that Fulton County is, predominantly Black. Now, it might be run by Black people, governed by Black people, but that's not a guarantee that it need only be. That's all I wanted to say. Okay, here we go. So now K-Dub says you can be charged even if you believed it was empty, 3rd-degree felony, as opposed to 2nd or 1st. Okay. What about the Mike Tyson case? Fani has 666 ethics violations. I would not be surprised. She did threaten. Okay, so for example, is that an ethics violation? Because I do think it's like an abuse of power, if I understood it correctly, where she threatened Jocelyn Wade with some kind of protective order or whatever like that to really mess up and slow down their divorce filings. Is that an abuse of power? Is that an ethics violation? If so, then I think whoever it was, here's Dogs of War, then it's probably true. If Fani's at that church hero, then they got issues. Yeah. I don't doubt what you're saying there, Black Cappuccino. I don't doubt what you're saying. All right. Lifetime presents Surviving Fani, the Nathan Wade story. Philanderer at law. Well done. Well done. You don't think those? Okay, Joseph says those ethics violations won't touch her. Really? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm waiting to hopefully have somebody who knows a lot more than me talk about it and ask questions. And hopefully I'll have Mark on this week. I will definitely put it out there on the community post, put it out there as a ahead of time so you all know. I do think that if I put it out a day or ahead of time, that usually pushes it and makes sure that you all know. But I'll do my best to make sure everybody's aware. Okay, I'm reading. Queen Fab says, I think Jocelyn's attorney, that's Jocelyn Wade, filed something against Fani. Yeah, man. I love it. Smoke Footy City said, Trump's lawyers hit Fani with the Uno reverse. I have not used that term. I need that. About the whole church race speech. It backfired big time. I agree. But see, wait. See, this is the problem. Fani knew that she could go there and say those things, and it would be well received from that community. That's the problem. Why did Big Bethel, why did she find it okay to go to Big Bethel and say that? Now, if a person of less melanin went to a church and made the exact same blatant, overt racial comments, everybody would excoriate that whole church. Everybody that's been near that church, everybody, the sound man, the Georgia Power that sends power to it, everybody would have had a problem. Why? And we would be seeing sermons from the pastor. See, look how he said, he used a hard R. and this, that, and the other. Why is it that they were able to do that? That's what we need to start asking. We need to start holding our feet to the fire and say, Black churches cannot put up with that. They can't. They cannot. And if they want to remain faithful, if they want to be taken seriously, because there are issues, let's just be honest, there are issues in society that do have some kind of partiality, that do have some kind of issue that we probably need to come together and say that that's wrong as a community. I got you. But when we invite these charlatans in to, again, she sat right there and lied to Big Bethel. Why does she feel comfortable doing that? That's the question that we have to ask. Why? And if that be the case, then we have to stop allowing that to happen. So what needs to happen inside of Big Bethel? What needs to happen inside of New Birth or the Dream Center? Well, those places need to get closed, but I digress. What needs to happen inside the quote unquote Black church, that we will stop inviting the Jesse Jacksons, the Al Sharptons, the Fani Willises, the Raphael Warnocks, all this other shenanigans and clownery into the church to blaspheme, to lie, to deceive, to hoodwink, to bamboozle Black people. What do we need to do? Because this right here, this is it. This is the problem. And there was another great comment earlier as well. Truth be told, and let's also talk about that. Fani is a Roman Catholic. According to her book, she's a Catholic. So she's not even a Christian. I'm like, why are we having this conversation? Why are you in as a Catholic? I don't see you in any parish. Go to your parish and talk. Go to your parish and do that. But she's not AME for sure. And she's not Seventh-day Adventist. That's where she was a couple weeks ago in the Seventh-day Adventist church. I don't see you in a parish. Go to a parish and do that stuff. Sell that to them. Do you think she had a hard time getting a prosecutor because they all thought the case would fail? She asked Nathan Wade, but he was like, pay me? I do think that's it. I do think that's it. I think that's exactly what happened in real time. Like, I don't think it was easy. She went to former Governor Barnes. She asked some really good attorneys, and they were like, no. To me, still hiring your boyfriend was the wrong thing to do. I don't know what the process is. Can you hire somebody from out of state to move in to take care of this for 2 years? I don't know. But hiring your boyfriend was the wrong move. That I think we can all agree to that. Let me pull that comment back up. We can all agree to that. That was the wrong move. And the dude lives here. So it's not like the $600,000 was paying like his mortgage, or he had to rent an apartment or something of that nature. Nope. So I don't know. I really don't know. That's another fantastic question. Y'all, Fani having a fundraiser on March 6th for her reelection. And let me just pull that back in. I do not approve. Where is that picture? Here it is right here. I do not approve of, here's the fundraiser right here. I do not approve of you all screenshotting this. I do not approve of you screenshotting this and putting all down here at the bottom where it's, $3,300 donations and all that. I do not approve of you screenshotting this. And then down here at the bottom, putting where you could find this money in her house. So like sock drawer, under the refrigerator, anything like that. I do not approve of that. Do not do that. Do not do that. And please do not email that to me when you do it. dearwokesy@gmail.com. I do not approve of those shenanigans from you all. I do not approve of that. That's very, very poor shenanigan behavior. But just in case, if you need my email, if you need it, there it is right there. All right. There's no proof of pay to play whatsoever. Detroit Kitty Cat says there's no proof of pay for play whatsoever. But they went on the trips together. There's the pay and there's the play. What they're trying to prove is that she paid it off. But keep in mind also, as a representative of the court, you can only receive, I want to say it's $100 gift without having to report it. So a flight to Texas, a cruise to the Bahamas, a flight to Aruba, those are all outside the purview of the of it. I mean, she was already wrong. She was dead to rights right there. I mean, so whether she paid him back or not, and even if you pay him back, you still have to, you know, and acknowledge it. So there you go. So I don't think it's not just a, you know, pay to play, but it's a matter of you can't do that in the law space. All right. What did I miss? What did I miss? It's in the lockbox, Regina. Regina says it's in the lockbox. But yeah, so that was it. I do not approve of you all making fun of Fani. She's running for office. She's going to be an ethical DA. She's the right kind of person. I know Paul Howard, you know, he was doing those bad things, and Fani kind of, you know, sort of basically is doing the exact same thing, but that's beside the point. Fani is tenacious, and what did it say? It said tenacious and motivated and admirable. Oh man, they're bigging her up big time. So just remember, you know, Fani is focused and tenacious and worthy and determined and admirable. Those are very, very powerful descriptors. Yeah. I think this dress is on the right. This is the exact same dress. Wow. I realized that this is the exact same dress that she had. It was pink. This is it. Wow. And she must like that thing. And she said, look, I'm gonna get 3 of them joints. All right, look right here. All right, this is the exact same dress, and it has the little zipper in the front. Right there. First of all, let's move the U out of the way. I just got the zipper in the front. That's the exact same dress. It's got the little darting right here. Yeah, this is the exact same with the tie. Wow, this is exact. Fani says she likes that dress. She likes that dress. She said, look. Yeah, that's it. That's the exact same dress. It's just black, or, you know, was that pinstripe? Interesting. Okay. Y'all got me way off task, you know. I apologize, but I appreciate you all so much. That was a lot of fun. Let me see if I missed anything else before we get out of here. And go see what President Firstborn's doing with these. Yeah, James, I think she was caught in a lie. I don't know, but I don't know if perjury, you know, how serious is that? I don't know. I don't know how serious it is, and if that's impeachable or removable or whatever. Yeah, according to Wade's lawyer, most likely this indictment goes away if Fani's disqualified. I think that's probably another reason why Judge McAfee is dragging his feet. But you know, just my little 2 cents. Is she wearing it backwards though? Chicken grease? Is that backwards? I don't know. I think that's a great question. Oh, hey, look, I have several pairs of pants that are exact same style. They're just different colors. So I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad. There's no anger here. It's from Ross. Well, is there something about that though? Is it that I would think? Why do you? I don't know. Needless to say, she says she loves wearing those dresses with the tie up belts. Yeah, I wonder why. I wonder what that's about. That's probably what happened, Albert. That's probably it. Nate told her she looks good in that dress and she bought 3. All right, I am going to. Oh, I see what you're doing, Sandy. I see what you did. I see it. Oh, that's why. Okay. All right. There's some comments about why she keeps wearing the belt that's in the chat. Interesting. What's going on, Barbados? Annette and Hill. Hello from Barbados. Good to see you. Hey, real quick, that'll be great. Down in the chat before you get ready to bug out of here. Where are you from? Real quick. Just drop it in the chat where you from. Go. Okay, good to see you. Louisiana in the building. Bayou Country. Midland, Texas in the building. That's Georgia right there. I know where Georgia is. Southern Colorado. Miami in the building. What is good? All right. Rhode Island, Mr. Chaplin. Good to see you, Sir Houston, in the house. All right. Madison, Wisconsin. University of Madison, Wisconsin. I went there when I was in high school for a summer camp. Westward. West Virginia in the house. Lives in Georgia from Texas. Live in Georgia from Texas. Gotcha, Atlanta. Come on now. Let me know if you ever come up to Marietta. Springfield, Missouri in the building. Denver, Colorado. That good old sunshine state of California. Mississippi. My mom's and dad's families are from Jacksonville, Meridian, and Meridian. So my dad's family's from Jackson, Mississippi. I said Jacksonville. Jackson, Mississippi. And my mom's family's from Meridian, Mississippi. And we know that Annette is from Barbados. Yes, yes. Wait, you're on Cobb Parkway? Come on now. Come on through. We drive down Cobb Parkway probably every day. All right, let's go. I appreciate you so much, Kim. Thank you. I know Houston, Westlake, York area and the Bayou. Detroit in the building. All right. Oh, we know Willie Doc is from down there by Jamal Bryant's church. Willie Doc lives in the shadows of Jamal Bryant's church. Uh-oh, Ackworth, what's going on? All right. Salt Lake City, Utah. Come on. I love it. I love it. Y'all pray for Willie Doc. He right there. He right there in the foothills of New Birth Missionary Baptist Church. He need to roll up in there and tell Jamal to go sit down. Your Morehouse brother. Go tell your brother to go sit down. That's right, Willie Doc. Let's go. We need to catch up again. Willie's come out to the studio a couple times as well. So we should catch up one day. That'd be fun to catch up with you. And Detroit Kitty, I think we're just being fun. I just think we're taking pot shots, is having a good time. I don't think the dress was on backwards, personally. I think it's weird, but I'm not a dress fanatic, so I think we're just having fun. Cobb County in the building. Come on. Yeah, Georgia has really big counties. There are some small ones as well, but there's some pretty large counties that cover quite a bit of space. And the reason I bring that up is Fulton County is one of those. If you ever do a Google map search of Fulton County, Georgia, you'll be like, yo, this thing's huge. I mean, it's huge. It's easily 72 miles from end to end, especially when you start talking about school district. I mean, it's gigantic. All right, my good people. What is going on here? Thank you so much. And thank you for the super chat. Toothless Tiger says, I love your take on this. She lied at the court saying that she paid for 3 equal. She paid all 3 equal. She paid the RICO attorney $100 less than the other 2, she says. She saw, and she has no honor. I don't disagree. I haven't dug into the whole payment thing, but I think we all can agree. Most attorneys are hired on a salary. So, for example, $250,000 a year, $300,000 a year, whatever. To pay somebody that much an hourly, because I fear if you start with the hourly argument, people are going to say, well, show us the billable hours. And then it's going to go off the rails real quick because they're all been working the same amount of time. So for one to made 70,000, another one made 100,000, and then for you to make 600,000, I think that's going to be problematic. So I don't think they're doing themselves a favor by arguing that they paid the same. And I think that's part of why Trump's attorneys didn't actually argue that. They didn't actually go into that in detail. They just said that whatever money he had, he was using it for trips and she was benefiting from it. That was it. Because I think, sure, maybe it's perfectly valid. Maybe that's why they didn't argue against it, because it was perfectly valid. I don't know. I am not a lawyer. My name is Jason, and I am not a lawyer. What I am saying, however, is it did look really weird and really odd, and I don't think that their argument that this has it looks bad, the optics are bad, it looks horrible. And please understand, if you disagree with me, please tell me in the chat, where would you be okay with this behavior happening? Like at your church or your kid's school, your HOA, your own job? Where would you be okay? Like, oh, this would be perfectly fine. Like it's fine right now. My boss is dating the mail clerk, and the mail clerk is now the vice president. Like, show me where you are doing that and you see it in real time and you're perfectly A-okay with it. I would just love to see that. There we go. Nathan made $650,000 in a year and a half in pretrial. That raises a lot of questions. I don't disagree. Like, I just want, again, that's fine. If you're okay with it, then that is what it is. All I'm going to ask is, can you down in the comments below let me know where you're okay with this happening outside of the law profession? Are you okay with it, again, at your church or your local supermarket, the place where your kids work, or where you work? Are you okay with that kind of scenario going on? I would love to see how that works out. I just want to see it. Like, oh, this works out perfect. Let's go. Fani is just nasty. We used to have standards back in the day. Women who slept with other women's husbands were not revered. I guess it's not anymore, as long as you are able to be the first Black, whatever. I mean, you're kind of right. I mean, Jason Winston agrees. Like, you're true. It's true. It's true. It's right there. She lied to the church. Toothless Tiger says, I did a video showing her saying it and their contracts. Really? Oh, now that could be problematic. I truly have no dog in the fight either than being a 65-year-old mother. I taught my son truth and nowhere. I'm with you. All right, what do we got? We are definitely in the last days. Thank you all so much for the super chats. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. I want to thank you all again for this past week. You all are amazing. I had so many firsts, and I'll talk about this tomorrow during my Weekend Woke show, that I had the first ever video that hit 50,000 views in a day, which was bananas. I had the largest live stream I've ever had with almost 1,300 people watching a live stream on Thursday morning. That's crazy. Just bananas. And so many new subscribers. So tomorrow I'll be doing a show kind of explaining, what Dear Woke Christian is about. By the way, there is a video already on my channel called What's the Name Dear Woke Christian About? It's already there. But I'll just go over it in real time with you all tomorrow. I will be highlighting some of the things that we talked about this week, as well as what to expect moving into the following week. We're in March now, so we got a lot of stuff to go on. Do you realize we've only 9 weeks into 2024? That's crazy. That is bananas. 2024 is going to be out of control. We still got election. They haven't even started really campaigning yet. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Susie, in the building. If you want to support me on Buy Me a Coffee, you most certainly can. If you want to follow me here, of course, on YouTube, you can do that as well. Make sure you hit that bell notification, all that kind of good jazz. I'll make sure that the link goes up tomorrow morning for my tomorrow night show, where we're just going to go over what happened this week and what to expect moving into the new week, and just have a lot of fun, all that kind of good jazz like that. And you can always find my new content on dearwokechristian.com. Thank you all so very much. This was fun. I appreciate you all. Thank you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. I'm looking forward to hopefully connecting with you all tomorrow or somewhere else down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the channel. all that kind of good jazz. And until next time, everybody, Lord willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Grace and peace.